Tanny Cooks here, and today I'm showing you how to make a good old mustard fried pork chop sandwich. Look at these pork chops, y'all. They are so flavored, so seasoned, juicy, tender. You definitely want to stay tuned to watch the rest of this recipe. And when you take this pork chop and you put it on a brioche bun with some lettuce, tomato, onion, mustard, mayo, out of this world. Look at that, y'all. Pork chop so pretty. Let's get to cooking. So we're going to start off with our seasonings of course, yellow mustard, garlic, onion, black pepper, poultry seasoning, and Lowry seasoning salt. So we're just going to add all of our seasonings to our bowl of clean and washed pork chops. We're going to add our mustard, and I'm not measuring it exactly. You just want enough mustard to cover all of the chops. So we're going to add it, and then with a gloved hand, I'm mixing the seasonings and the mustard onto each pork chop. So you may need to add more mustard at the end as you start to flip them. Mustard has vinegar in it, and vinegar is a natural tenderizer. So besides adding the delicious flavor of mustard seed, it will also tenderize your meat. So here, as I flipped over my meat, I realized I needed some more mustard, and I'm also going to add more dry seasoning. So you're adding seasoning to your flavor. You'll notice the only thing that I'm conservative with is the salt. You don't want it to be too salty, and we're also going to season different elements of this dish. So I am going to marinate these overnight, so I'm putting them in a plastic baggie to keep them in the refrigerator overnight to save space instead of the big bowl. So I'm just gonna clean up and zip up my bag and stick it in the refrigerator. I'm gonna sit it on a paper plate just to be sure that none of the juices drain down to my actual shelf in my refrigerator. So now it's the next day and I'm ready to get to cooking. So I'm just gonna take some of my cornmeal and I'm adding flour to it. I like 2 times as much flour as cornmeal when I make my pork chops, as well as my fried chicken. But for my pork chops, that's how I do it. So we're going to add our seasonings. The same seasonings we use on the meat, we're gonna use in the flour. Garlic powder, onion powder, black pepper, seasoning salt, poultry seasoning. Each level in a recipe needs to be seasoned. You just can't wait and season the outside and think the whole dish should be good. It doesn't work that way. So now I'm going to stir up my seasonings to incorporate it into my flour cornmeal mixture. I cracked open a couple of eggs, and to this I'm going to add some Badia complete seasoning. This does contain some salt, so I'm only adding this at the egg level. So just stir that up, and then we're going to take our mustard marinated pork chops and dip it in the egg. The egg isn't required. The mustard will be sufficient to get the flour to stick, but I like this extra step to make sure my pork chops are extra crispy and well coated. But if you have an allergy to egg, you absolutely can leave it out. And I like to do a couple of pork chops at a time and then flip it in the flour, because I like for my pork chops, once floured, to sit in the flour for 10 to 15 to 20 minutes. If you get busy and do something else and it sits a little bit longer, that's okay. But sitting in the flour helps to make sure it sticks as a solid coating to our meat, which is what we want when we fry it. You don't want your breading to come off in the deep fryer. So that's a little pro tip for you. So I'm just tossing the flour and cornmeal mixture, making sure all the nooks and crannies are covered, and then shake off the excess. You don't want to put excess flour into your deep fryer. Here's the deep fryer. I'm using canola oil. You can use any oil that has a high set point, like peanut oil. So I'm just gonna shake off my pork chops and put it into my oil, and look at them sizzle. Look at it go. Fry them until golden. You'll notice them to start to float to the top when finished. Look at that, y'all. Look how crispy that is. Is that not the prettiest thing ever? Pork chops, honey. Mustard fried pork chops. It tastes as good as it looks. I promise you. I promise you. So we're going to take out our pork chops one by one. Let them sit on an open rack. Don't sit them directly on paper towels, because you don't want it to get soggy. You don't want your fried crispy pork chop to get soggy. So make sure there's a rack above the paper towel. So we're just going to continue on. You can see this is a center cut pork chop. Some were center cut, some were assorted cut. All are delicious. You'll just notice a difference in price. and shake off the excess flour and put them in your basket. The deep fryer is perfect for this, but you can fry this on top of the stove in a big Dutch oven. Look at that. You can almost see the seasons. Can you smell that? Oh my goodness. This was so delicious. I had to have a friend over to help enjoy it with me. It was so good. So this is a special treat. I don't eat fried food or pork every day, but when I do, I like to do it up big, y'all. These pork chops are worth every calorie too. So that's our mustard fried pork chops. Grab some brioche buns, slice up some tomatoes, onions, and lettuce, and you have a delicious sandwich. Look at that with a dill pickle to top. Okay, so thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel and help me get to my first 500 subscribers. Thank you.